Alright, so this Dredge video is going to be a little different because I actually lost my mic audio, so I will do my best to do a voiceover of what happened in this episode of Dredge. The first thing that happens is I find another fishing boat, and he warns me of this giant leviathan lurking in the ocean, then gives me a strange package to deliver to the dock worker on Little Morrow. So I actually spent some time just fishing and making money so I could afford to upgrade my boat. And it didn't take too long to get enough money to get the hull upgrade. Later, I find a piece of a treasure map with some valuables and a giant rock crab monster thing. I came across a stray dog in this abandoned village, which I immediately befriended and then shoved him into the bottom of my boat. Something I learned is that if you use the banish ability near these rocks, it will allow you to touch them and it will read you this weird poem of sorts that don't really make sense, and each rock has a different one. Back at Little Morrow, I check in on the dock worker after I delivered his package earlier, and he's not looking too well. My next destination is a twisted strand to hunt for the next artifact. After first arriving, I noticed how yellow it was, and that was a big change from all the blue I've been seeing. And I noticed that big wooden contraption in the center. Then the creature in this area showed itself. Deeper into the mangrove, I find a crash plane and a man at a campfire. He tells us about the creatures we saw and how his squadron crashed here and were picked off one by one. And to avenge his squad, we must find pieces to a mortar. I discovered another crashed plane, and lo and behold, the first piece of the mortar. Very lost and very panicked because I stayed up through the night, I struggled to find a port to rest at. But finally I make it back to safety after taking some major damage. Finally, I located the last piece of the mortar, and then I head back to the airman to assemble our new weapon. The airman explains that the contraption we saw at the very beginning is actually a trap for the mine sucker, and there's actually 3 of them, and we need to craft special bait for each of those traps. And then once the mine sucker is caught, he will blast it with the mortar. But first things first, I need to make the bait, which each one is made out of a different combination of fish that you can find throughout the mangrove. Not too long after I completed the first bait recipe, now it's time to set the trap. One down, 2 to go. I thought the airman might want to know that we actually took down one of those creatures, so I showed him the proof and had him mix up the next bucket of bait. Bright and early, I headed out to go set the second trap. Only one more creature remained. After way too much trouble, and after way too many fish being lost due to damage, I finally got all the ingredients I need for the last piece of bait. And with that being done, all the mine suckers have been eradicated from the area and the airman squadron has been avenged. As I hand over the last chunk of mine sucker flesh to the airman, he cuts it open, finding the next artifact, the necklace. I manifest myself back to familiar waters to visit the collector and hand over the newfound artifact. He rewards me by giving me the new ability Atrophy, the ability to summon fish to my location. And this marks the end of another adventure. Let me know if you liked this format at all. Completely accidental, I did not mean to do this. This video is like less than 10 minutes long, and I usually like my videos longer, but let me know if you liked it, and I might consider doing this more in the future.